and welcome to Hit and Miss number 4. I've got a slightly different camera setup, as you can see. Bit like Greenstuff Gav. He's got very good setup for doing his unboxings and things. If you haven't seen his channel, do mosey along and have a look. It's he's very good. Yeah. Gav is a long-time friend of the shop as well. Although he seems to buy an awful lot from WePrint Miniatures. And not from me, but such is life. Give old Gav a look. He's well worth it. Anyway, what is this new setup for, Fitch? Well, I'll tell you why. I want to try and expand a little bit on what I did in the last video, which will show you a bit about how I do flesh tones and things. And it seems to have gone quite well. Quite a lot of people have looked, and we've got some new subscribers. So hello to you. Yes. So yes, I've got this new sort of setup, and it's all done here on my little painting thing. Which is this really. It's just a little painting. Well, so there's a little bit of wooden stand I made, and it's got this hook arrangement here. And the idea is when you paint a miniature, you see you can push it into the hook, and thus you have got a stable painting platform. It's just another little innovation that I come up with. Helps me anyway. So anyway, I leave my cloth on there so I can wipe my brush on it. So getting back to flesh tones and bits and pieces, what's that? Grot everywhere. What I was going to try and explain is the advantages of using flow improver over water to dilute your paints. When you're doing layering, you want the paints to be fairly opaque to go over your base coat, and you gradually work them up higher and higher, or down, whatever, and you bring out the gradings of the gradient of the shade like that. I wish I'd worked this out beforehand. The gradient of the shade beforehand, not beforehand, the gradient of the shade as you go along. Honestly, you can tell it's Good Friday, my brain's just not with it. So I'm going to show you how it works. Because, you know, some of you are sort of thinking, well, you know, what is this stuff? And it was told to me, it's been a big help to me. It was told to me by a professional painter. And this is the first thing now. I'll get this in shot. There we go. Flow improver. This is from Reaper Miniatures. 9106. Comes in a little dropper bottle. All you do is unscrew the cap and add a drop to your paint. And that's as simple as that. What works very well with it as well is this, which is 9216, which is drying retarder, and this stops the paint drying so quickly, which you wouldn't think, oh, that's not a big problem, but it is. When you are putting on such minute amounts of paint, ambient temperature does tend to take the mickey out of them pretty quick. So these two things are very useful. So what was explained to me is mix them up 50-50 in a bottle. That's my bottle. It's an old medicine bottle, but it's got a dropper. It's got a rubber petite thing on it, and so you can scoop up some and then just drop it in to your paint as and when you need it. And so, why is this better than water? Well, I intend to hopefully demonstrate. Now, for that, I have got this. Doesn't look much. It's a blue square on a little resin base. But that is going to be our blank canvas for purposes of this demonstration, as Fred Dibner used to say. Imagine that is a cloak, and we're wanting to put highlights and shades onto it. So that's our base colour, and we started at the darkest, and we're now going to add some lighter colours. So to do this, we paint what's it there. And you can see how this is done. Keep moving it about. So we're going to use an exaggerated lighter colour for this. This is a light blue from Reaper. And we're going to put a drop in there. Come on out. And a drop in there. Now, as you might be able to see on the video, this is fairly gooey stuff. This is fairly thick. And so it benefits from a bit of knocking back in any case. So on this one we will put a drop of the flow improver and drying retarder. So there's one. Okay, let's have one drop. You can add 2 or 3 if you want, and the other one we will add a big drop of water. So that's just paint water going in there. You should use clean water, but there we go. So that's paint water. Now we'll mix them together with a mixing brush. And goes like that. Oh, now this is another thing you've got to sort of work out, is getting your consistency right. Everyone says, well, you want it like milk. Well, that's too thick. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but that is a bit too thick. So I'm going to add some more water to that. Another drop. That's better. Now it's behaving more as you want it. You don't want your paints too thick. And the beauty with Flow Improver and Retarder is it keeps your paints fluid, and the Retarder keeps them going for longer. So let's see what one drop does with this. This is the Retarder. You just do it on the side of the thing and just see how it pulls back. And that's really not enough, so I'm going to add another drop to that as well. Ding! There we go. You get the sound effects as well with these videos. It's good, isn't it? So there. That's better. Once you've done it and, alright, have a bit more experience, you get the feel of what you want the paint to be. So anyway, I'll put that down there. We'll put this back here. Get a better brush. There we go. Now, this is the paint with water. Okay? Paint with water, just going along there, and so we'll go in over top like that. Now, I don't know if you can see that very well, but the paint is pooling. It's basically decided it's going to go to lowest points and bits and pieces. It's pulled away quite a bit here, and it's pulled all the way down here. It's not behaving as nicely as you'd want it to. So dry off my brush, and in the other square we will use with the drying retarder and flow improver. Now that's pulled a bit, I have to say, but it's not done to the same degree as the one with water. As you can see, you've still got a much better in the overall consistency of colour. So we'll just leave those there to dry a little bit. I could speed it up, I suppose. I could speed up the drying a bit. Hang on. I've got me hot air doobry here. Oh dear, that's not helping, is it? Well, you're sort of getting the idea. It's blowing it all in a heap. Oh dear. But generally speaking, this is another wonderful disaster from hit and miss, more miss than hit. But you can see the paint with the flow improver has held together and basically behaved itself much better than the paint with just water. And that's because you're adding more of what the paint is made of, not diluting it with something, all right, just water that's basically pulling it apart. So that is the main reason for mixing up, in a very bad demonstration, but that's the main reason for mixing up something or other of that sort of nature, all right, improving your painting that way. And yes, it works rather well. It's a good system. Once you get the hang of it, you add the paint things to the water, to the paints, and you start playing about, and then you can put a layer on, and the drying retarder keeps the paint nice on your palette for a good quite a while. Yeah. Now there are other different retarders and things on the market. These are the Reaper ones, and they're nice because they're in little dropper bottles. But Liquitex do some very good stuff as well. And yeah, there's probably some others out there as well. There's bound to be 2 or 3. Probably all paint manufacturers do their own. So yeah, so that's another handy little hint or tip for you, just to improve your painting. Do get hold of some, play around with it, and once you get the sort of feel of it, it's very good. A lot of people use wet palettes, which are, you know, square things with a little bit of sponge and a piece of paper on it and what have you, and you can close the lid and it keeps things moist. Redgrass makes some nice ones. There's quite a few other manufacturers of them as well, but the trouble is they do go mouldy after a while, because it's damp and warm, and anything that gets on there, it does sort of grow its own cultures after a while. But I don't have one, but that works in a similar sort of thing, because you can pull it out on the palette, and the actual liquid medium within the palette sort of soaks through and elongates the paints and does all other sorts of wonderful things. So that's really about that, really. Yeah, so that's that bit done. Now I'm going to tell you about some other things. I was contacted recently by an old mate, actually. He used to run, I name check him, he knows who he is, but he used to run Vexilia Miniatures, which was wargaming stuff for the historical mob. And he was also the Merleton distributor for the UK, and I used to sell Merleton stuff, which was old Grenadier in the olden days. And he said, you know, I've retired now, but I found these at the back of the garage. He said, more spare parts, would you like them? And I said, oh, yes, please. And so I have now got an expanded range of spare parts. And these are shields. I mean, I don't know if you can see this. I'll put it on the back of my hand. Looks like a ladybird, a silver ladybird. About the only colour they don't seem to come in. Got all manner of wonderful things downstairs. But we've got shields, we've got spears with little hooks on, we've got axes, we've got heads. I don't know if you can see those there, but yeah, there's lots of heads and things. So yes, thank you very much. It's all now up in the shop. If you need extra weapons, swords, heads, all sorts of things for conversions and bits and pieces, do give it a look. They are mainly for 25mm, and they were designed for the historical market. But, you know, they do work for other bits and pieces as a pinch, and if you've got a large miniature, a sword can look like a dagger, and, you know, you know, if you're experienced in these things, you know the sort of drill. One of the other things, of course, I've been doing is these wood blocks. No, they don't look very exciting. I'll get it in frame, Fitch. There you are. This is actually a piece of walnut that I've just given a light coat of tung oil on, but they are plinths. For the professional painter or the professional competition entrant, they do like to stick their miniatures or busts on a nice piece of hardwood, you know, to show them off. And you can do it in displays and things as well. And as one of my sort of sidelines is wood and timbery things, every so often I do produce some plinths. So I've got 10 of these in stock at the moment, and yeah, they're very nice. So if you are in the market for a plinth, don't forget to well, have a look and see what's on offer. They're here. They're also in the Etsy shop. So if you are buying from abroad, you can purchase through the Miniature Heroes Etsy shop and get, well, whatever it is that you want, and pay all the duties beforehand. And, which they've now thought up. There's always wonderful ideas, duties and bits and pieces, but there we go. So there we are. Woodblock plinths available in the M8 shop. Right, what's the next thing? If you watched Hit and Miss 3, you'll notice that I started the skin tone tutorial on the Cyclops. Well, here he is all done. Just thought you'd like to see him, just sort of a end of video bits and piece, and yeah, I think he turned out quite well. I tried to keep him sort of light and summery. He lives in a hot climate, and yeah, there he is. The world's probably smallest Cyclops, but all finished nonetheless.